I'm just gonna take the obvious, low hanging fruit here. But Spider-Man 2 showing up. No
Okay.
shit. I was thinking it, and then I listened to the Kind of Funny episode yesterday, the PS I Love You. And yeah, I was thinking you open with Spider-Man 2. That's how we know we're in for a banger because that's
Hmm.
and Sony's done this before, the classic something that could be held for the end. Fuck that. You knew it was coming anyways. We're getting it out of the way early. That
Yep.
means it's and it never fully gets there of like every game's going to be more important or bigger because of course how could it? But it's that feeling of hope and of oh my god, anything can be shown at this showcase because Spider-Man came first. So I do think that's what'll happen.
Hmm.
Maybe a mid. I don't think there's any way it's a closer. We all know it's happening. We all know it's coming. I do think, and I think Blessing was making a good point of this. Like Miles Morales being the weird buffer, I think this could be like more impressive than we anticipated. And
Hmm.
it's just like we haven't truly seen next gen Spider-Man, which pumped for. But yeah, low hanging fruit, not exciting to predict. But I mean, I think it's gonna happen. So.
Yeah, I had the exact same prediction on my list.
There's some
I
easy ones, so I don't feel too bad because there's like
Yeah,
three to four of like, yeah, probably that's probably gonna be there.
right. I had the same one on my list. I got more specific with it though. I said that Venom is briefly teased, but I think it's going to be a heavy focus on Craven. And I also got more specific with the date, with the release date, because we're going to get a release date in this for sure. I'm so positive of that. And I
I'm just taking an easy point here. I mean, I guess it ultimately doesn't matter because they're not going to be. Well, no, we will be here next week to
right.
discuss this one specifically. But I'm taking the easy point here because I'm not trying to have too many caveats. But yes, I do think I think we'll probably see a section either with Venom or he tails at the end. We're probably going to get like 5 minutes ish of it. Um,
Mhm.
I could see a 2 minute trailer followed by like a few minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, yeah. I
But I don't
think
think
it's
it'll be too
just
long. I don't think we're gonna get some 10-minute display of it. I do unfortunately think that of another game, but it might be the one you take next. I don't know. I'll leave that for that.
yeah. I think it is. I think it's just straight up gameplay. I think it's similar to how I forgot how
I'll take
the
you on a
first
side bet on
Spider-Man.
that. I think there is a cinematic trailer. I don't think there's any way we don't get at least a minute to 2 minutes of pure cinematic.
Maybe it is, and then it goes into like gameplay. I think if there is a cinematic, it's like very short. But I think like the gameplay link that we get will be like similar to the Miles Morales gameplay that we got at that showcase, or the Spider-Man 2 gameplay when we had like an actual gameplay demo of that with like, all right, the Kingpin Tower stuff, and then not the construction thing where he called Kingpin, and then you have the helicopter and all like
Also,
that.
side bet. I don't know if they'll show it here, but I would bet money that we play as Venom at some point in this game.
Nice side
I
bet.
think Brock. I think Brock is an anti-hero or like that middle divider more so than a straight
Well, you
villain by
think
the end
it's
of the game.
you think it's Brock?
Fuck, who's the other Venom? I always forget.
No, no. Remember, they're doing stuff different in this one. Remember how they're teasing Venom in this universe. They're teasing spoilers for Spider-Man real quick. They're teasing that it's
Oh,
Harry.
Flash Thompson, huh?
No, they're teasing that's Harry. That Harry's Venom.
That's right. I haven't played Spider-Man 2018 since 2018, so um, that's right. Oh, so it probably is. Whoever's Venom, I think will be more sympathetic and more of a quote unquote classic anti-hero where we're supposed to like them by the end of the game than a straight up villain. And I think that is through a like we play as them.
Mm.
Because
The
we know
last,
Miles and Peter's happening, so what other curveball can and I think Insomniac likes those curveballs.
I'll just the last bit of my tail on the Spider-Man prediction that we're talking here. From at least on my end of it, I think September 21st or November 14th. If it's September, I'm pinning it on September 21st, and if it's November,
I'll
I
stake
think
my
it's November
claim as
14th.
a bonus for funsy. My Spider-Man 2 is my only official prediction. It's September though. I just think the leak is not untrue, but I think it would be hilarious if Sony like booted it back a couple weeks to like the first week of October. But like realistically, there's marketing plans in place and everything. It's September.
Okay. All right. So let's get to my end real quick. And real quick, I'm going to say this, not an official prediction, but I think that everyone who can be here is going to be here at this show. We were kind of saying that before we started recording, that we think this is going to be really heavy on first party. So I think that everyone who can be here will
Yeah,
be
we'll play.
here.
We'll do quick rounds of side bets. I was thinking the over under on third party games 4.5. That five number is crucial. What are you taking? You got to place
Uh,
a bet. Over under 4.5 for third party games shown. And when I say third party, I'm talking strictly non. If it's a second party, that's its own category. We wouldn't obviously wouldn't classify if it's just a PlayStation exclusive that is not Sony first party.
if it's straight up third party,
I've got my answer.
I guess the same number as you. I mean, it's
No,
getting
no, no.
weird.
Do you have to go pick over under that? That's the line is 4.5. So you'd have to
Well, I mean,
say,
I guess it depends on how you just classify third party. Because again, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking like, well, Final Fantasy VII would be third party. You know what I mean? But even though it's exclusive, but it's Square Enix, like that's third
yeah, that
party.
one's tough.
Like that's what I'm saying here. Like it depends how you want to classify it. I'm sitting here saying
I would say
anything that is
that's
not PlayStation Studios is third party. It's as simple as that in my mind. Why make it
I don't
more?
know though. No, that's why the term second party exists because the game is exclusively for the console, even though it's made by a third party. So I would say that's second party. It's classic. Even though it
Nah,
feels weird to say.
I'm going to sit here and say third party, and in that case, and the way I'm classifying it, I'm going to sit here and say like it's a good number. I'd say
Listen,
it's at
I
least
set the
five.
over under here. You just pick one.
I'm saying at least five.
I'm go under, and that's because second parties are different. It's a term for a reason.
Okay. Now my actual first official prediction here.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh no, that was like I said, fun side bet.
All right. I will do a fun one. No. I'll start easy. I'll start easy. Low hanging fruit as well. All right.
Yeah,
Also to
build. We
kind
need
of
to build to something.
to inform why I said I think Spider-Man is the date that I gave it. Naughty Dog, Last of Us multiplayer. It's
Yep.
here for sure.
Actions or whatever the fuck they're calling it.
Yep. Actual gameplay is here for this. And I'm gonna say that we're getting a date. It's coming this year, either September 26th or October 10th. I said September 26th because that is the Last of Us day. Okay. That would just, it just works out. Makes sense to do it on that day. That's why if that comes out September 26th, that's why I don't think Spider-Man will be September. Spider-Man will be later in the year. If Spider-Man is September, then this is the October 10th date.
No. Those dates are wrong. Those dates are wrong, but that's okay. You think Sony's letting the massive fucking sales shattering event that is Spider-Man 2 get interrupted by the Last of Us factions, a game we don't even know, a game that's been like vaporware for its entire existence? No, that game can get the fuck out of here. It's like a November game. They're like, stay far the hell away from Spider-Man. They don't think it'll hurt Spider-Man, but they also don't want to just damage their own property. Like I could see The Last of Us Day maybe being like a beta thing for people that aren't, for the weirdos that aren't into Spider-Man. But yeah, I think its official launch would be probably like later in the year. I think it's tough because it just seems like it's got to release soon, right? But we literally have not seen gameplay. All they showed us was a picture. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't, there's no ears to the ground knowing. I feel like everyone's just pulling this prediction out of their ass as far as like it's got to come soon. Not just you, I've heard it. I've been listening to get hyped to all the pods, and it's just like part of me is like, where is this coming from? Because we haven't seen shit, guys. Like, and Naughty Dog doesn't seem like traditionally we're gonna hold everything and then show you it all at the end, and it's boom, 3 months. It's not gonna pull a Mortal Kombat. It doesn't seem. Could be totally wrong. I'd rather go off of history and like what have we seen. I wouldn't be shocked if this is like a next year game. Sometimes that happens. You go, we're finally gonna get a reveal. It has to be soon, right? And it's like it's a year and a half away, and people are like, what's going on? So that happens. That's just what also is. I think it's too. It may not be as soon as we think, but I do think there's going to be an annoyingly long gameplay segment, like 10 minutes, and I'm just going to be like 8, probably like 8 to 9. But by the end, my eyes are going to be glazed over, and I'm going to be like, I don't give a shit about this game at all.
No, I don't think when we get gameplay for it, I don't think it'd be that long. I think it'd be because you can't,
because it's gonna be like that day in the life stuff of like, oh, here's what you do, here's your base, and I'm just officially that's when I'm like, I don't give a fuck about
no,
this.
I don't think you do that here. I don't think you do that here. That would run too long.
I would love to be wrong.
No, yeah, I think it's just a straight up trailer, like, all right, showing what the game is, showing a bit of gameplay, some cool gameplay, but it's not getting in the weeds. Because if you get too in the weeds on this, like, you're already killing pacing and stuff.
I know people are like, I want gameplay. I know people like those lengthy segments. I don't. A good showcase to me, I want like 20 trailers, baby. I just want like announcements. I just want to get excited.
Well, what's your next prediction then?
My next prediction, it's so this those were my guaranteed slam dunks for the record, the way I had categorized everything. So now we're getting
Okay.
in the probable, but not guaranteed.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I'm taking the fun ones, but I'm gonna go Wolverine here.
Okay.
Um
I have it. I think it's a
uh
guarantee, or at least a probable
so I
too.
said probable. You think it's a guarantee?
I changed that to probable.
Yeah, probable but not guaranteed was my category for this. And of course, I want it, baby. Like I've this is a self-rooting interest. I want this one to be right. And I think so the guarantees were like to me 60 to 70%. And like we'd be shocked that 25% is like, holy not there. Like I said, I would be the least surprised in the room if factions doesn't show up. Spider-Man's like a 99%. Like there's no fucking way they're leaving without showing that thing. This is like a 40%. I'm like, it makes so much sense. It's a lot. If this isn't there, I think there's some development trouble. I think Insomniac has their first like damn hiccup, maybe. Because even if it's not a release till September, October, November of next year, I think that like they would still have like they've shown Spider-Man that far out, etc. The first time around. And they've shown games, Ratchet was like roughly a year. Like I think they would definitely have a sizable chunk to show us at least a good trailer for Wolverine. But if it's not there, I think there's a little bit of questions because I think Sony's and I was kind of thinking this, but Greg Miller talked about it that like they may not plan on doing one next year again. This may become an every other year thing. So I think Sony's like I do think they're emptying the clip. Like I think this is everything within the next 2 years. They're like next year might be another third party one or something smaller, but I think this is just like here's all the first party shit. You motherfuckers, stop asking us.
That's why I said I think everyone who can be here will be here.
I think Wolverine just makes so much sense. I personally like deep down, I have too much trust in Insomniac. I think we're getting gameplay, baby. I think like
Mhm.
mixed in with the trailer, not like some long thing, but I think it's gonna have that back and forth,
Yeah.
or like the clear delineation, or maybe it's less of a clear one, and we're like, oh shit, next gen, baby. Um,
No.
yeah, I think it's gonna be way cooler than we're all expecting. I think it's gonna be more than just standard brawlers that like we're gonna be thrown for more of a loop than I think, and I'm ready for it. Like I said, I trust Insomniac probably too much.
No, yeah, I think it shows up here as well. If it does, I think it's like you open with Spider-Man, and this is either middle of the way or like I don't know if this is the closer, but it can be the closer. But I don't think we get it like a release window at all for this game because Sony isn't one to like put a year on a game that's more than a year out. Typically, they haven't been doing that in recent years. So, and I think this is not a 2024 game in my mind. This is 2025. Like, I imagine they would love for it to be next year, but you put that year on it and then it gets delayed to 2025 anyway. So I think it's more of a 2025 game, and that's why they don't put a year on it right now. It'd be awesome if it came next year, though. It'd be awesome if it does, but I think you are right. I think there is a very good chance that it does show up here. And I think, like you said, about they just want to empty the clip. Honestly, I think anything that they show here is liable to come out within the next 2 years, and that's why I base a lot of my predictions that I made here.
It I could see with my last thought of it on it. I could see. I think placement is the key. If Sony's got absolute heat for the end of the show, this may be towards like the second, third, like the 60%, 70% of the way mark.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, if like the craziness isn't like shattering the internet scale, like how we've had the dream E3 games before, if it's more a little reeled in, more realistic, this ends it. This
Mm-hmm.
is like the one more thing, and it's like Wolverine. And if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a fucking like time period, not date, but like next like early spring 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something like that gameplay, if we get the full blowout, if that's the one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it just being a 3 to 4 to 5 minute thing, like a lengthy trailer with some mixed in gameplay at the 60 to 70% of the way mark. And that's the tell that we're about to get some crazy shit for the last 30%,
Mhm.
20 to 30% there. Like that's when you go, oh my God, already Wolverine, they're bringing it. And that's what I hope. That's my dream of all dreams.
Okay. Now, all right. What do I want to go with my next one? Because you see, I feel like a lot of my next ones, any of them, I don't have them labeled as wild predictions, but I have quite a bit of wild predictions that I want to share, and I'm just like,
This is
damn,
the
I don't
classic.
know.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
probably
know.
go safe the first two, and then three is when it starts straddling the line of like, do I want something really boring or do I want to start getting crazy at three?
Do I want to start getting crazy right now? You know what?
Getting
I don't
crazy at
know.
two is wild, but
Well, this will be my. Hold on. I only did one so far?
yeah. Remember,
Oh, oh my
you've
gosh,
just
you're
done
right. I
Last of
only did
Us.
one. I don't know why. I thought I did two so far. Okay,
Sorry, I
so
set the bar too high with Wolverine being two.
this is my second one. Correct, correct. Okay. So then my second one, then I will say her. That's right, because I have third party ones here too. You know
There's one
what?
more incredibly obvious but boring one, in my opinion.
I wonder what that is for you.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll talk about it once we're done. But
I'm going to say my second prediction. Um, you know what? I'll say this. It's not boring. Well, it may not be what you're thinking it is, but I'm sure what you're thinking is probably one of the ones I have here. I'm
probably.
gonna say that we see Haven and Firewalk show what they're working on.
Oh, that's like a yeah. So that's a to me that's boring, but it's not the obvious boring because we don't know which one. I think everyone's assuming it's Haven, but
I'm
under
saying we see
this,
both. I'm saying
un,
both of them are definitely here, and both of their games are coming next year.
what I put for this slot was any or all multiplayer slash live service games. Any of them that Sony's got in the works could be on the table. None of them could be like I really don't know. I think one of them for sure is actually showing up, but I don't have. I know everyone's saying like Firewalk, and I'm like, well, maybe they're right, but like I also wouldn't be surprised if it was just a different team. It's just one of those fucking multiplayer slash live service games is probably showing up here. I think that's a safe bet, but two, three could as well.
No, yeah, I'm thinking it's both of them because Haven's been working on like these both these partnerships were announced the exact same year, okay, within months of each other. So clearly they are well into development. They've both been acquired by Sony. So clearly there's like a lot of trust behind those games. They want to start, I'm sure they want to start showing off these live service games that they've been talking about for a while. They want to start showing them off soon. So they're going to show off at least one of them. I think we are guaranteed Haven. And a reason I think we're guaranteed Firewalk as well is because, again, just the timeline they've been working on and the fact that I don't think Deviation will be there. I thought Deviation would have been for sure, but then they just recently went through a bunch of layoffs after that portfolio review. And I was like, oh, maybe you're not there actually. So I think Firewalk and Haven definitely show up, definitely show off their worth, what they've been working with. And then also, again, like I said, I think they're 2024 games. I think they get revealed to be 2024 games. Reason being, I think Sony wants to start putting these live service games out, and then it also starts to fill in the question mark of okay, what is coming next for Sony past
Yeah,
Spider-Man of this year? What does next year look like for Sony? And I think we start getting it, filling it that box in with some of these live service games. I don't know when next year they would be specifically, but I believe they both just get a 2024 window at the very least. That's me. What you
that
got
I don't have
next?
as much to say about that one. That one's yeah. Blessing on PS11 was talking about how you go to their site, very obvious, spacey, and then you look at like these reading through like their whole description, their influence is all fucking games they listen. It's like, oh, we're getting a first person shooter. That's what this is
Nice.
gonna be. So that it seems obvious. Seems like a game I could potentially be interested in. Depends what the gameplay looks like. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Um,
What's your
for
next
my
one?
third one, I thought about going with something I know exists. So this is one of the two things I know you don't have, but this one is definitely more grounded in reality because the game exists. So I have talked about wanting to play this game, um, and I don't have a Steam Deck. And I think so this is what I'll say, 100%. I think, and I was thinking, I was like, why? Why? It just makes sense to announce that this game has been incredibly popular. But then I was like, oh yeah, E3 season's coming up, and I think Sony gets it, at least the announcement. But I would list it at probability it shows up in a showcase for them, 50% Sony. I'll go 55 Sony, 40 Microsoft, 5% Nintendo because I think it kind of clashes with their own properties. I think we get classic middle of the trailer fodder with some of the smaller stuff. Pizza Tower is coming to PlayStation.
Okay, yeah, that was not gonna be on my list.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I know. Yeah, that's the game I've been wanting specifically, near and dear to my heart. But it's not announcing something new, so I didn't want to save it till later. I thought about putting it at 4, and then my big one, or my the one I truly want deep down, at 5. But instead, that one will still be at 5. I'll put something else at 4. Um, so yeah, I think Pizza Tower happens. I think it's a classic indie middle of the showcase game where they're like, some people are like, I'm tuned out, and I'm like, let's fucking go. I'm like super pumped. I don't have to buy a Steam Deck for the foreseeable future because of that. It's possible it's at Microsoft. Uh, I'm just hoping it's at Sony because I want to play it, because I do feel like the announcement may mean exclusivity for a little bit, and I would
Mhm.
rather play it on my PlayStation and get trophies.
That makes
But
sense.
I'll be happy. I like. I'm not. I have an Xbox. I will not complain if it ultimately ends up on Xbox.
Okay. Okay, I like that prediction. I forgot that you were talked about that game fairly
Close and personal,
recently.
yeah. Dude, that
Okay.
game rule. Like, it looks so good. I've read so many. I've like watched so many reviews, and I'm just like, fuck, I want this game so bad. I don't even have like a bad PC I could try and run it on. I have a Mac, and then I have console, so I
Mhm.
literally have no place to play this game.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna break the rules a bit. Okay. I'm gonna bend the rules for us, at least with PlayStation. Okay. Maybe I'll do it with Xbox. I doubt we'll do it with Nintendo in Jeff's event. I'm gonna let us do 6 predictions each. Okay. Because I feel like you probably have a few more that you actually like want to choose between. I know I have a lot more that I want to choose between, so I want to give us each an extra one to work with. Okay.
All right.
All right. If that works for you, that if that doesn't work for you,
I
then
mean, I have enough, but I wouldn't say I want to. There's just everything I have listed here.
okay. Well, let's see. Let's see what we end up doing. So my third one, I'm going to go with. I'll do another first party one right now.
Okay.
I think. Oh, do I get wild with it or no? You know what? No. I'll stay like this. I think that which one do I want? All right, no. This is what I do. I think Sony Santa Monica will tease their second project. We're not going to get a release window though. And I honestly think if anything is the closer, this might be it.
Maybe. May I could see
It's
that.
a maybe. It's not a strong yes or no.
I think it's too soon. I think you see I think you see whatever Naughty Dog's got cooking outside of Last of Us before. That's my
Mm.
personal take, is that you see that before you
See,
see whatever Sony Santa Monica.
I was thinking about this because I was like, all right, there are three
To be
teams that
clear,
we know of.
I'm not predicting that either. I'm just saying, like, in my head,
Right. I was thinking, I was like, all right, there are three teams we know of that have like double teams that they could be working on multiple projects. There's Naughty Dog, Insomniac, and Sony Santa Monica. Insomniac, we already know both games. Sure. The second one probably would be here, Wolverine. Then it was like between Last of Us, between Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica, who's more likely to show up with the new game? It's Sony Santa Monica because Naughty Dog recently, even Neil said that, yeah, we actually want to announce our game closer to when it's actually coming out because
Okay.
they want to reduce that crunch and that pressure on the team. So, like he said, yes, we are working on the game, but they're not going to announce that anytime soon at all. And I think also they're more focused on getting Last of Us multiplayer out the door right now to focus on and showing the next game. Whereas Sony Santa Monica, God of War is already out the door. Corey's been working on this second project for quite some time. I think that all right, we can tease this, and it may not be a next year thing. That's why I think anything that they're showing here, first party wise, is liable to come out by 2025. And I think
Gotcha.
this game could be a 2025 game.
I don't think I don't think we're getting this announced. Just for the record, I don't know if they're teasing anything that far out. But who knows? We'll see. Because they could potentially have another showcase by then. But we'll see. Because like again, if we follow the every other year model, 2025, they would probably have another showcase, and if it's a winter game, especially, may have the avenue for that. But we'll see. Um, are we doing 6 or not? Because I thought of one that I'm like, okay, I'll actually slot that in
Yeah,
as the end one.
let's do
You want
six.
to do
Let's do
six?
six.
Okay, so that way this one will be. So my one that was initially at five will stay at five, and then I've got one for six that's a little crazier, but still fun. So this one I'll go rumored, but I've got kind of like a caveat and thing here. The rumors are true, and there
Okay.
is a Metal Gear Solid remake,
Okay.
but
I got that in mind as
I
well.
don't think it's just magically gonna be three. I think
Okay.
we could get into some naming reconventions because even as someone that has not played the Metal Gear Solid series, I know that three is like basically the prequel. Three is one essentially, in like the timeline and the lore. I think if it's really three, they're doing some, and maybe they say this is to like honor Kojima. This is like alternate timeline shit where this is like canonically now the one number one. They are going to clearly
Hmm.
set it up as the first game for newcomers, and I don't think they're going to give it a naming convention like a Metal Gear Solid 3. If anything, they to not make it confusing and not make it one, it's just Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. They get rid of three. But I don't think
Hmm.
it just doesn't make two cents. It's too fucky that it would just magically be we're remaking just three and we're leaving it at that. Like, I don't see it. I think if
Okay.
it's three, they're presenting it as the first game, but to avoid the confusion of it being one, it could be just Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
Okay. I like that. I had this on my list. Metal Gear Solid remake and exclusivity rumors are confirmed. Whether it's one
Yeah,
or
I'll
three,
throw that in. I
I was just thinking, all right, we're getting confirmation of a Metal Gear Solid remake in some way, shape, or form, and it's next year. But I like changing the name up, going, no, it's three, but we're calling it Snake Eater, remove the three from the title, do a
because
little
I think if
different
they were
stuff.
just doing a very direct remake, it's one. Like I just think it makes way more sense. But if it's three, I think they've got like a whole plan for the series. Um,
Hmm. Do you think
and they're
Kojima will
gonna
be
like kind of
involved?
maybe switch things around or whatever. But it would make sense if it's canonically the first game, in the timeline to then present that for new fans because the goal ultimately has to be to get new people to join the franchise. Um, and so how do you do that? Like maybe make it a more streamlined, less chaotic, like back and forth time jump shit. It could just be like, hey, this is technically the first game. We also like this setting. So we'll do this. We think this one may be a little less technologically, uh, you know, stress, or like hard because it's newer game, newer assets.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I'm gonna start doing some of my wild ones now. Okay. My final three
You
will
know,
be
wild
wild
at four. All
predictions.
right, yeah, gotcha.
All right. I have one, two, three, four, five wild predictions here, actually. Okay.
So we're getting three of the five.
You'll get three of these five. Yeah. And I know which one the last one's gonna
You
be.
can just rattle them off for non predictions at the end.
One of mine, one of the wild ones that I'm gonna have here, okay. Just for fun. Just for fun, because I would love to see this happen. Just for fun. You know what? No, I'm not gonna do that one. I'll rather that off at the end. I'll say this one because I think still think it's a while. Bungie. Okay. They're going to reveal a brand new project not connected to Destiny at all. We don't get a release window though, but I think this gets announced, and we know they are working on something else. I believe they're working on something that's not Destiny related. I think it gets announced here, just to tease
It would
what's
make
going on.
sense. It would make sense. But does it make sense to unveil something with just a tease?
I mean, it
Do you
depends
think
on what
Bungie
that
by
tease is.
themselves has just enough juice to like get excited for just a title card or just a 20-second cinematic? I don't know. I'm
I
not the one
mean,
running this thing, but
again, it depends on what that tease is, like how in depth it is, how lengthy it is, how secretive it is. There's also the conversation of why would they show this before Destiny Light, before the current Destiny 2 saga is over, before that's the storyline is done. That's a good point. I still think they're going to tease this because I think this is coming out at some point in the next 2 years. I think this is on the horizon, and I think they're going to start teasing it now. That's what I'm thinking.
like I said, I don't know enough about Destiny and Bungie and like what that timeline of production is to like comment there. So I'm just interesting.
Yeah, I like that one.
All
I'm
right.
happy I went with that.
So this was my number five, but it's still fine. But it was meant to be the closer. But
Yeah.
my closer is now Wilder. This one's based in reality, like I said, was Pizza Tower, and then this was my other one where I was like, this one you probably thought of, but I'm glad you didn't take it. You didn't vulture it from me. Um, it happens, baby. New Astrobot, let's fucking go.
I have that
It's
here.
gonna happen. We're gonna full fledged, and I'll say this: don't be surprised if it's the winter game.
Oh, you think it's this year?
5 years from Rescue Mission,
Ooh.
they could have easily had a smaller team working on Playroom. Even then, 3 years from that, don't be surprised. Now, I will say because I don't want
Ooh.
my heart torn out. My official prediction is like around that rift apart, the April May timeline kind of game. Like I could see them wanting that in that early ish slot. Maybe they even say March and it gets bumped to April, or April to May, vice versa, whatever. That's my official prediction. But low key would not be surprised if that's winter 2023 because it feels Astrobot in my heart of hearts feels like a winter game. Um, but
See,
yeah, and I will say I don't think it's PSVR 2. I don't think it's one of those games. I think they recognize the potential. And here's what I'll say to back this up. I like look for like different merch and stuff. Fan Gamer has a coming soon
I
section
know
and
I
they have an
saw that. It's so cute.
Astrobot plush on it. I was like, huh, that's sick. And then this was announced, and my brain was just like, it's coming. It's 100%. We're getting it, baby. To me, that was just like the most ludicrous tying together the string. But I was like, why else would they just? That's too coincidental for me. I'm believing until it does, until the presentation's over, and that we're getting a new Astrobot.
See, I had it on my list as well. I have it coming next year. And then I also have it coming to PS5 and VR2. I think it's
I
both.
could see it. I could see it, but I don't know if you've played Rescue Mission. It's so hard to like. Maybe that team's great, so I wouldn't put it past them to find a way to make both work. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sony was like, via if Sony realized VR2 may not be the hotness a couple years ago, and we're like, you know what, you can scrap that part. Like it's we believe in Astrobot as an IP enough, and as a game people love that like you get the full blown go ahead on just a 3D platformer or Mario because I truly do believe it is that level of quality. And just let the record show that until this six happened, I wasn't getting greedy with what I wanted. That was truest heart's desires, Pizza Tower and Astrobot. But then when you were like six, I was like, what do I want to guess? I've got some other things that are just like we know they exist, and yeah. And then this one creeped into my head, and I was like, fuck it, we're gonna shoot for the moon for this next one.
All right. Well, let me get my fifth one off real quick.
All right, all right.
Um, all right. I got two wild ones here, and I'm just gonna spit them out. I'm gonna spit out one right now. The last wild one, unless you take it, which I hope you don't. My fifth prediction here: Persona 6 is announced with a 2024 release window. That's my official prediction. I think there could be I'm going to throw this extra a bit out there as well, which I didn't write down, but I just thought of it. PlayStation exclusive, timed exclusive.
Maybe, or given Atlas recently being cool with Microsoft, this is that would be a that would be a sick move by Microsoft. I'm not saying I want it for all the
Yeah.
Sony fanboys, they get mad, but I could see Microsoft being that like a kick to the balls for Sony if they were able to score timed exclusivity on Persona 6.
I can
Or
too.
even just the announcement at Xbox, I think would be something to have in your on your
Mhm.
end, but then also to score any kind of exclusivity would be a real ball buster. But Sony and Atlas do have a relationship going back a long time, so like that would be kind of. I'm sure Sony would view that as a dick move by Atlas. But
Come
we'll
on
see.
now.
Yeah, that one's definitely been floated out there. I know a lot of people have shot it down. Like Atlas does their own thing.
Which they do. Which they
As
do.
mentioned, I don't have enough to comment.
Neither do I.
But
But like we've
I
known this
that
in
would be a get
development
hype
for a
moment. I would be
while.
excited for the people that are excited. Like just like that would be a big announcement to show up.
Yeah, like we noted that it's in development. Clearly, obviously, it's in development. No way, it's not. Um, so I think it'll be at the PlayStation stage. I don't think it'll be at the Xbox stage because for the sole reason being that This isn't to say that every Xbox game at the showcases does this, but you know, a lot of their games, they want to be Game Pass games. And I don't think Game Pass Persona 6 would be Game Pass day one.
I don't think Atlas could risk it. That'd be a lot of money.
That's
Yeah.
why I don't think it's at Xbox. I think it's at
Could
PlayStation.
make sense. Yeah. I can see that reasoning.
So yeah, that's where I land on this. What's your last one?
I, Sony's like, listen, we're tired of you giving these announcements to Xbox. We thought we had a good fucking relationship. And this developer is like, well, we'll throw you a bone and give you what you've been asking for the last 8 years.
8 years.
Bloodborne 2 is fucking happening. Let's go.
You think
the Nvidia leak is true, and we do get a remaster but it's just a remaster. It's not a remake. And it's like a 2-for-1. We get Bloodborne 2 and we get the remaster. The remaster is like one of those like perks that they throw in. Maybe it's like part of the Ultimate Edition or whatever. Maybe they just find it as an opportunity to make an extra 40 to 50 bucks by putting that in a disc and calling it a day. But I think that's just like that's my little cherry on top. My official prediction is I think Bloodborne 2. I don't really think this. This is my shoot for the moon. This is like, they know their demo, and this one could be for the weirdos. It could be like they have the major ender, they have a Wolverine, they have something huge, and then they go, this is for the deviants out there. And then it's just like Bloodborne 2 FromSoft. We don't know what's coming after Armored Core, and Armored Core comes out this year.
Well, after Armored Core is the Elden Ring DLC.
I'm saying game-wise, you know what I mean. And that team cranks out games, baby. Like, they really do put in work. You're telling me there's another Souls game going on. I think Elden Ring was a hit so late. I don't know if it was obvious that it would be that level of a cultural phenomenon. That I think that the Elden Ring sequel we're probably getting, which, to be fair, not that I don't love Elden Ring, but I want From Software to do whatever they want. Ultimately, if they don't want to do Bloodborne 2, don't want to force it. But it does feel like they just it's the Sony FromSoft partnership portion of it. There's no way Sony's letting that bad boy be a Xbox. Yeah, they're not sharing that. But I think this is it. I think it's just a timing thing. From Software being like, when we feel, and then I think that happened three years ago or so, maybe like around COVID or after COVID. I think it's probably not till next year. Maybe 2025, but it could be like early 2025. So Sony's like, listen, this is the place, this is the stage.
Okay. I like that.
It's funny. I said I'm shooting for the moon, and now I'm talking myself into this being reality.
You're like, oh,
I can absolutely see it. Bloodborne 2. Let's go. This would be, if those 3 games are announced, I just want to say you're going to see the most excited I've ever been on this podcast next week.
I'm shooting for the moon with this next one. And here's the thing. It's not happening. I know it's not happening. Not a chance in hell that this happens. But
you're grounding yourself in reality.
But if it did, this would automatically like crown Sony as the winner, most likely, for the summer. All right. I want to set a picture for you, paint a picture for you. Close your eyes. Okay. Close your eyes. Imagine this.
I'm not closing my eyes, but I will imagine it.
All right, fine. Anyone, close your eyes if you want to. Screen is black. All right. You hear water. You hear water. You hear birds. Okay. Then you hear music playing. It starts off low and then gets a bit louder. It's a bit louder. And you're like, I recognize that song. I recognize that song. And then it's like, wait a second, it's a car radio. Car radio is playing. And then you start hearing gunshots. Bang, 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 bang. Because it's GTA 6. GTA 6 gets revealed here, properly revealed.
Not happening, but
2024, fall 2024 release window.
We'll all collectively lose our minds if GTA 6 gets revealed. But
I know, and that's why it's a wild prediction. That's
also,
crazy get hype prediction. It's not happening, but I would love it if it did.
I just want to set the record, since you got to do a little scene painter. It absolutely is going to be like black scene. This is how Bloodborne gets revealed. It's 100% the ender. It's the only way it happens, and it's like they try and pull the all switcheroo on us because we definitely hear an old lady talking, and she talks in vague enough old world terms that we're like, This could be any game. And then you see it as a little grotesque, and we get some kind of like slow pans, and we're just like, is this FromSoft? What is this? And there's some among us that are just like on the edge of our seat, like Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne 2. And then we're gonna get some kind of wide, like a cut from the very vague slow pans and the old world, and we're like, all not sure. And then we just get like some kind of very Lovecraftian monster, or we get a street pan of London or something along those lines, where it's obvious it's Bloodborne 2. And then we just lose our, well, everybody that is excited for Bloodborne 2 loses our fucking minds. That's, they're gonna mess with us. They're gonna play a little trick because they know they've got the sauce the same way that with that announcement, the same way that GTA 6 Rockstar would know they've got, however they choose to unveil that. Rockstar's like, we got the sauce. Like people are gonna lose their minds for this. So yeah, those are high aspirations to dream for, folks.
Yes.
But
we had to end on the craziest predictions we could possibly think of.
all right. And now let's unload the clip on just random strays that we had that we didn't talk about.
You want to do that right now? Or you want to save it for the end? I think let's save it for the end.
It's going to be too long of a list if we do it. These are Sony specific ones that I like. Silent Hill 2, don't think it's showing up anywhere else.
I don't have it,
especially because
I have it on my list, but not for Sony.
Well, because it was confirmed an exclusive, so it just makes sense that it's going to be there for Sony. But ultimately, Metal Gear Solid 3 was just way more sexy to predict, you know.
Yeah.
And then I thought Death Stranding 2 probably, that was in my probable but not guaranteed. I think that one is very, very likely. It was just boring to predict for me. I was just like, eh.
I didn't predict it because I feel like it might be a bit too soon to see more.
Yeah, but we got a million cinematic Death Stranding trailers, which is why.
That's true, but I looked up the first one we got, which was 2016, and I think the next one we got after that was like TGS 2017. So it was like a year and change after for the first one. So I was like, I don't think we'll see it like 6 months later after we first get it announced. I was like, I think that's a bit too soon.
I want the record to say I think we will, but not enough to put it in my official prediction because it's boring.
Yeah.
And then my last one here is I had Final Fantasy Rebirth.
I had that as well. I had it as well. I had that as well as a couple others. I'm not going to say all the others I had. But I did think that I had a Kena getting announced, new sequel for that.
Kena 2?
Yeah, a new Kena. I had Half-Life.
Why are you not saying all the ones you have? Are you saving them for other predictions?
No, because I have a lot of other PlayStation ones here, and I don't want to go through all of them for the sake of time.
That many?
I have quite a bit. But I had like Final Fantasy VII. I did have that here. Confirmed March of next year. I had a Kena sequel, Half-Life Alyx for PSVR 2. I mean, it's a basic generic one. We've all been predicting it for a while, but I've had that.
Could happen, yeah.
I also, Blue Point, their next game. I had that listed out here. Being a 2024 game specifically. I don't know what it is they're working on though.
I've given up hope, but Sly Cooper, if you're out there.
Okay, I would love to see that.
I know. As I said, I've given up hope, but I would be very happy.
The last PlayStation WoW one I had was PlayStation All Stars reboot. Get us announced. No date or anything, but it
would be cool, but also it wouldn't pop for me the same way some of this other stuff would.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
But
say
like
it'd
be interesting to see happen for sure. But yeah, I think, and that's the thing. I think the most interesting part to me, I'm hoping some of the new IP is potentially. I hope it's not all just the live service multiplayer stuff. Like,
yeah,
I hope they just come out with some banger single player game that we've never heard of. That would be sick. That's like
Sony Santa Monica.
As much as I like, yeah, maybe. But I don't want a 30-second cinematic. Like, I want something a little more substantial. Give me at least 2 to 2.5 minutes of a trailer to know that, like, oh, you guys have actually been working. Like, there's actual assets to show off. But yeah, it's always the unknown, And I do want it on the record that I want more than just sequels and shit that we know exists, which is why I want Pizza Tower.